Hey guys, I am MG, and to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of my original Karate Kid review, I'll be looking at the remake with the same name, which is a 2010 martial arts drama film that is about Dre being trained by Mr. Han in order to win the tournament against his enemy, and it was directed by Harold Zart and written by Christopher Murphy. However, why don't we stop talking about writers and directors and start reviewing this film right now? This remake is honestly great, and even better than the sequels of the original. It doesn't quite reach the highs of the original, but that's because of my nostalgia for it. This is still a worthwhile remake, and what I like about it is that it has its own identity. Sure, it has repeated lines from a classic, but otherwise, this greatly feels like its own thing. It has the same story, but the tone and style of this movie are pretty different, so it doesn't feel like a copy. And this film also introduces some new things and new scenes that are pretty exceptional, and some of the best moments in the whole franchise. Like, the Chinese setting is honestly so much better. The location the plot is taking in just looks more interesting to me, and I really like how we explore different places of China, which makes the setting over more unique. So, that's neat. And there is a little more lore of Kung Fu as well, with different techniques, more backstory, and how different Dre is trained compared to Daniel, which I deeply admire because it makes the remake stand out more on its own. And the mom character was much more entertaining, and I really enjoyed her relationship with Dre that feels very natural and believable. The action is an outstanding improvement, with all of them being very intriguing, especially the training scenes. That just offers a lot more compared to the original. It was compelling there, yes, but I adore this new direction they took, which makes the scenes leave more an impression on me. Like, how cool was that kick to the villain's face? Just magnificent stuff. The new scenes were really investing, with my favorite moment of the whole film being Mr. Han sad about his family. That scene is really emotional, and a great part of characterization between Dre and Mr. Han. They both learn something from each other, and man, it's just so good to watch. And that's on top of the other amazing moments here, so I'm happy about that. However, I will admit that some stuff which I copied from the original were a bit weaker in comparison. Like, the villains are serviceable, with them showing great physical violence, but they're kind of a less threatening version of Johnny and Kreese. But compared to what the sequels had to offer us in terms of bad villains, I don't mind that they're not particularly threatening here, because I would much rather prefer them over Chosen and Mike, that's for sure. The chemistry Dre has with Mr. Han was also a bit weaker. I still like these characters, their chemistry is pretty nice, with a lot of great scenes, and Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan are excellent, but I sort of feel less connected towards them, and I'm not really sure why. Their chemistry is as good as it can be, and there are plenty of sweet moments throughout, like both of them hugging, but I think my nostalgia for the original characters is why I'm less connected towards them, unfortunately. And that's the same with the romance as well. I liked it, there were plenty of funny moments, and one new issue that I got from the first film was I don't really see why Ali was angry at Daniel. I mean, Johnny humiliated him, I don't see why she's upset with Daniel, but here, Dre and Mei Ying's separation makes more sense, so I appreciate it for doing that. But I still found their romance to not be as inspiring or heartwarming as the original's romance. But without comparing this film to a classic, it doesn't have many problems. I don't think the stuff between the romance and the Kung Fu plot theme were balanced all that well. Like, you kind of forget about the romance, since there is so much focus on the Kung Fu. The pacing was also a little bit slow, and I wish that the runtime was shorter. But I don't really see any way of how they could have fixed that, since all the scenes felt necessary. So, whatever, it's not a big deal. The very few pop culture references also felt very unnecessary. I laughed at the SpongeBob one, but that's only because I reviewed the second film recently, so yeah. But overall, this remake is great, and it does such a good job of not feeling like the same thing again. I still think that the original was slightly better, but this is still a really amazing way to bring back the franchise, and I am very happy that they made it. 8.2 out of 10. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching. Bye!